Oh, Betty's sister, daughter.
That's
lives up
right.
there.
Y'all took a vacation up there.
Huh?
Y'all took a vacation up there in an RV. You told me that.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I was pretty close to Oregon.
well, you was north of Oregon then.
Huh?
You was just north of Oregon.
Yeah.
Oregon is the last state before you wind up going into Canada.
Yeah, I know it.
In other words, it's a national border state.
Yeah, Jason
Border.
used to deliver a lot of stuff to Portland up there.
Well, anyways, the guy that I was talking to yesterday on the phone had to call up about some RV parts. He was telling me that 5 years ago, the state of Oregon was the most beautifulest place that you'd ever want to live in your whole entire life. He said jobs was plentiful, people was nice, the vegetation was beautiful. He said just within the past year and a half since COVID hit, he said this thing has turned totally upside down. We've had all these fires out here. Now we're having mudslides. It burned up. He called out so many different towns that it burned up where people's become homeless. And he was just talking about in one county alone had over 5,000 homeless people. He said between the COVID and between the fires and between everything becoming double as far as the price wise, he said, this has turned into hell. He said, our heaven in Oregon has turned into hell.
Well, this old virus stuff they run it in the ground. They've got it all out of hand.
Well, you got people right now, Uncle Bill, in
Australia. It ain't no worse than the flu. The flu killed a lot of people, but they didn't tell it.
You got people right now in the country of Australia that's almost at the point of having civil war over these mandated vaccination shots.
They're driving in the ground, and people in this country here is quitting their jobs because they have to have that shot, and they're firing them. We ain't gonna have nobody doing that. You got a right. There can't nobody tell you about your health. I can't take your medicine, expect it to help you if I take your medicine.
No, but if I'm a state trooper and if you ain't got your seatbelt on, that isn't going to affect nobody but you. I guarantee you, I can pull you over and give you a ticket because you ain't got. And don't that have something to do with your health?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
They're mandating by pushing that off on people, telling them that if you don't wear your seatbelt and we catch you, we're going to give you a fine.
Well,
and we're doing this for your own good in the name of safety, And if we see you driving down the road without that strap over your shoulder, we're going to pull you over and fine you. It's basically the same type of scenario.
This is coming down to our rights has been slowly taken away from us each year, more and more. This has got something to do with your rights, this thing we're doing now. And the first thing you know, they're going to be here wanting your guns. They're going to come in here demand your guns. That's going to be the next thing that's going to happen. It's working up to that.
How old are you?
I'm 88 years old.
You've seen many wars.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen it like it is right now?
No. It's different. It's going to see some more. It'll be different. This thing ain't over with. This is starting. This COVID stuff is starting something.
What would Betty May say about it right now if she was living? What would Betty May have to say about it right now if she was living?
Gosh, I don't know. I have no idea.
What would Jason say about it if he was living?
Yeah, well, he didn't like it.
He was out there driving the truck. He knew things was going on.
He's been in just about every state around here and into Canada and everywhere else. It's just up there in the oil fields. It's killed in North Dakota for a pretty good while.
So he was just living on the road then, wasn't he?
Yeah, well, he lived in a truck.
Did he?
Yeah. That was his home.
And his occupation.
Yeah.
And his occupation.
He made good money. He made $500-600 a week up there killed in North Dakota.
He did?
Yeah. Hauling that oil.
I don't guess you probably done pretty well done giving away everything he had as far as clothes
Yeah.
and stuff like that, books and clothes and pictures and whatnots. How long's it been since he's been dead now? He died before David.
He died in
15. David died in 17.
October the 26th, I believe it's October 26th.
October the 26th in 20 and 15?
In 15. Betty died in 14.
About a year apart?
About a year apart. Yeah, she died, I think it's somewhere in March.
About a year and a half
20
apart.
or something like that.
About a year and a half apart. Close enough that it put the hurting on you, didn't it?
Yeah.
Well, I ain't gonna lie to you. Out of all my loved ones that I've helped put in the ground, including my mother and my grandmother and everybody else, David, my younger brother, by him dying the way that he died towards suddenly,
Well,
it's hurt me. It's hurt me worse than any other person that's died in my family.
Yeah.
The death of David. And you can probably say the same thing about Jason, can't you?
Yeah, everybody that's close to me is about dead, but I only have the two girls left.
I'm surprised that you've made it as long as you have. I mean, this is year 2021, and you
We're gonna be 22 here in just a little bit.
I know, and you was born what, 1930?
33.
33?
1933. 6 and 12, 33.
Now, was Dad older than you? He was, wasn't he?
Huh?
My dad was older than you, wasn't he?
Yeah. Yeah, he was older than me. Yeah.
But just by a little.
Well, shoot,
I think he was born in 26, wasn't he?
I was a teenager when they got married. I believe, no?
He was born in 26.
Yeah.
So that meant that meant that your sister, my mother, had to be born what, in 29, 28?
Betty, I was the youngest one of the family.
Right.
Charles was the oldest.
Right.
Charles was the oldest, Betty second, and I'm third.
So Mom was born before you, what, about 3 or 4 years before you?
Who?
My mother, your sister.
She was.
How much older was she
I'm
than
trying
you?
to think. I think it's 3 years difference in her age.
Okay, then she was born in 1930 then.
Well, no. Yeah.
She was born in 1930. Because Dad was born in 1926.
This has been a long time.
Well, it's just a matter of figuring out math.
A lot of water has gone over the bridge.
Well, I guess it's a matter of figuring out math towards who was born first and who wasn't born. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Betty was 64 when she died.
Yep. She just drawed her first Social Security check, retirement check, and she didn't even have time to even cash it until she done already died. A matter of fact, David and I think Danny both attempted to cash the check, and Social Security caught wind of her dying and told them that if they didn't bring that money back, that they'd be going to jail. Even though the check was issued to her while she was living, she didn't have time to cash the check. And because she didn't actually cash the check, David and my brother was going to cash it. And they said, no, you can't do that. You got to bring this money back or else you're fixing to be in trouble.
Yeah, you couldn't.
Now, was that right, Uncle Bill?
Yeah, you couldn't cash.
Was that right? I mean, the check got issued to her while she was living.
See, if she'd had it deposited into the bank, it'd been cashed.
It'd have been cashed.
Yeah.
That's right.
So
It'd have been automatic cash.
That's what I had into my check comes in deposit.
I understand.
Electronic,
That way, the night, it usually falls in there around midnight, the day or the night that it comes in there, it's yours, regardless whether you die 2 minutes later, it's still going to be yours because it's in your account. Whenever they handed you whenever they write you out a check, type that check out with the Statue of Liberty on it, that's different.
Betty died when they give her a check and they took it back out of my check. They done paid her and it went to the end of the account into the bank.
It had.
Yeah. Paid her for that month and they took it back. They took it out of my check.
So I guess the way they see that, they're giving you a check in advance for that month.
I don't know.
That must be the way that they see that. That
Well, no,
we're giving you this money to suffice you for the rest of the coming month. In other words, they're not giving you money because of the month you just went through. They're giving you money so you can go through the month that you're fixing to go through. And if you die, probably within 1 day before the fulfillment of that 31 days or 30 days, whatever fell on that month, if you die within 1 day, by rights, Uncle Sam can call that money back because you didn't fulfill living out the whole term pertaining to the month that they had paid you for.
Well, they took it out of my check.
Did they threaten you?
No.
They threatened to put Danny and Douglas. Danny and David in jail.
Well, yeah, they're trying to cash the check that wasn't their name on it. That's why.
But the check had been issued to her while she was living. That was the point that they was trying to make.
Yeah. But that's the government. You can't.
But yet, no, it's okay for them to get out here and become trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars in debt. And if me and you write a bad check, they're gonna come knocking on our door, and that $5 check's liable to end up costing $250 before it's over with. Plus, it's gonna make our credit look bad. But yet, no, the government of the United States can get in hock, can I guess never pay back their people that they owe. And they're not going to suffer any type of consequences on account of it. That ain't fair. Right. Me and you, we got to suffer the consequences if we write a rubber check.
Yeah.
So what's going on here?
And people ain't got no legs. They're playing hockey.
I see that. What's going on here? Probably some sort of disability army show. What's going on here? Whenever you have a government that says "do as I say" and not as I do. Mm-hmm. I'm going to tell you what you got. You got the next thing to communism. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying?
That's what communism is taking this country over.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Because they're full of hypocrisy. They're not living according to the golden standards that they're preaching. If me and you are supposed to not write a rubber check, and if we write a rubber check, there's supposed to be consequences for writing that rubber check. If they're not living under that same pretense, under that same golden rule, something is wrong with our government.
It's money. Money, money, money. Money's the name of the game now. If you got money, you can do anything. Have anybody killed or anything, you got money. Everybody wants money.
Well, you looking forward to the holidays, Uncle Bill?
I guess. Another day to me.
Well, you're going to have company over for Thanksgiving, ain't you?
Yeah, the kids are going to be here, and they're going to cook me a big old dinner, and I'm going to eat.
Right, you're going to have family over, I'm sure.
Yeah, they'll all be here.
Right.
Have you took the COVID shot?
I took that back, I guess, in January. One of them in January and one of them in February. Yeah, I took my
back. Did that make you sick or nothing? No. Some people are dying from it.
That's what I've been told.
I'm not going to take it.
That's what you told me last time I was here.
I'm not going to take it.
I ain't gonna put a gun to your head and make you do something you don't want to do.
The government's trying to do that, though.
Yes, sir, they are. They're putting stipulations. It's not just our government. It's all these governments that's coming down on their citizens like that.
It's communism.
It's a form of
control,
territorial rule.
They're trying to get the people in control, get them suffering, where they ain't got no food, no water, and the government's going to tell them what to do and what you can't do.
Well, it's a breakdown of the system is what it is.
Well, it's working.
It's a breakdown of the system, and that's the very reason why David and I before David died in 2017, April, the day after Easter, David and I put up a cross sideways out there on our property, and we done it intentionally to signify the broken system. The broken system. And by doing that, between that and a bunch of occult devil worshippers out there that's within a half a mile where I live, they made it so tough on us, Uncle Bill, that they literally drove David off into a state of emotional breakdown. And I truly believe that that had a big factor in his death. Now you're talking about something. It's kind of like post-traumatic stress syndrome, disorder, post-traumatic stress disorder. It's invisible. It's invisible scars that you can't see, you can't touch, you can't hear, you can't see it on a microscopic thing. But yet, no, we know that it's real. We know that these internal psychological, mental problems are 100% real, because people's emotions are real. That's just like Dad. Dad had some kind of a problem. One minute my dad would be doing just fine, and the next minute he would fly off the freaking handle and he'd be trying to kill you. If anything laying around, it didn't matter if it was a hammer, didn't matter what it was. He'd pick it up and try to knock you in the head with it. We had problems out of that guy. We had severe problems out of that guy. And you know what the kids today would have done with a maniac like that? They'd have killed him. They'd have killed him.
Well, I know he had a problem.
Yes, he did.
I don't know
he had
what caused his problem.
He had a discipline. He had a problem towards wanting to rule his children by driving them. And that's not a good leader. A good leader, it tries to live by example. In other words, don't do what I'm telling you to do. Do how I'm trying to do.
He had a problem.
Well, we've all got problems to a certain extent.
Yeah. Well, about half crazy to start with.
You got it. Some of us just are good actors towards covering it up a little bit better than others. He didn't try to cover it up, did he?
No.
He didn't try to cover it up.
Well, David, he died of a heart attack.
That's what they put his death down towards, a heart attack. I think it had to do with all that emotional stress that the community put on him out there.
Imagine.
Huh?
I said stress will cause a heart attack.
It sure will. Stress is supposed to be the number one killer in America right now.
It's bad. Stress is bad.
And it could be, job related stress. It could be family related stress. It could be,
Work stress, anything.
Any kind of stress. If you let it get to you, it can get to you. And David told me whenever I come back within the first year, maybe a little longer, he said, Juby, me and him talked a lot. He said, Juby, I tell you what they're wanting me to do. They're wanting me to choose between them and you. As in, you don't have a right to be out here on this property, and you should pack up and you should leave. I said, well, David, what's your opinion about it? He said, well, hands down, I'm going to pick you. He said, you're my family. And he said, you got just as much right to being out here on this property as I do.
Well, who was saying he didn't have the right?
The neighborhood, the community rose up against us. And it wasn't just one or two. It was several of them out there. And in addition to that, we'd go to court. We'd pay $1,000 for an attorney, and we'd go to court, and they'd just laugh at us. We'd go in front of the judge, they'd just laugh at us. We'd go in front of the sheriff, they'd just laugh at us. We had, in a 2-year period, we had 5 to 6, maybe 7 or 8 officers out at 291 Thompson Road almost once, maybe twice, maybe 3 times a month for 2 solid years.
Well,
2 solid years. And if you don't believe me, you can go up there and get the dialogue, get the records from them, if they'll give them to you. And what the judge was doing, the judge was passing the buck to the sheriff. The sheriff was passing the ball back to the judge, and they was playing Tootsie Footsie.
Well,
They were playing Tootsie Footsie, and they wasn't.
Dead then?
Huh?
Was Danny dead? Or
Yeah, Danny died in 2019. Or
When?
no, Danny died in 2017. Yeah.
Okay.
No, Danny died way before that. Danny died in 2011. Dad died in 2012, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, that was like 5 years after
Your
Dad
dad died in 12?
Yes. Yes, 20 and 12. I think it was 20 and 12.
Don't
It may have been 13 or
Don't seem
14.
like it's been that long.
It ain't. Well, no, it hadn't been that long. I mean, well, it hadn't been that long
This is
since.
21.
It hadn't been that long.
10 years, 11 years, 9 years. 10 years. You sure about that?
Time flies.
I guess it does. It doesn't fly away. When I was 15 or 20, 19-year-old, I said I'd never live to be 50-year-old.
Well, why? Was you
Well,
living that kind of a dangerous life? Did you have those kind of hoodlums living around you all the time?
Yeah. Well, anyhow, when I got 20 years old, I said I'll never live to see 2000, the year of 2000. We just talked about it. Here it is, 2021.
See, Dad got to see 2000.
What?
My dad got to see 2000.
Yeah.
And of course, what happened after 2000? In 2001, that's whenever 9/11 hit. You believe that it's been 20 years since 9/11?
Yeah.
Do you believe that it's been 25 years? Actually, 26 years now since the Oklahoma bombing?
Yeah. I remember that.
That was all over the news for what, a month?
Yeah.
Wasn't it?
Yeah.
And then before that, 2 years prior to that, was that deal down there at Waco
Yeah.
where they burnt them people up.
Yeah.
See, and the way that our government operates, and I'm sure that you've noticed this by now, it rolls over. It rolls over with a new election, with supposedly new officials in charge, and we're supposed to put aside the old and bring in the new. The thing about what they've been doing, they've been playing Tootsie Footsie to the point that they only make it look like from election to election that somebody else has been in power. The whole time, you know who's the ones that's been in power? The very ones that was in power before any of the elections pertaining to the rich and the powerful dominating the poor. And that's the way it was in the days of Egyptian days, where the hases controlled the has-nots. And that's the way it is now, and that's probably the way it's going to be until the end of time, Uncle Bill.
Well,
I mean, they can color the horse up any color that they want to, but the bottom line is this: you're still going to have your wealthy and your rich people that's going to be over us. It's going to be ruling over us. And you can put on whatever kind of cap or whatever kind of hat that you want to put them on. Republican, blue cap, red cap, whatever kind of cap. The bottom line is this: they're still in control. So in reality, we are living under a tyranny. We are living in a form of communism. It's dressed up to the point that it don't look like communism on the front end, but in reality, on the back end, if you get to looking at the inside towards the fundamentals of it, yes, sir. They're ruling us in America the same way that they rule them in China, the same way that they rule them in Russia, the same way that they rule them in some of these other communist-controlled countries. They're just better at it. They cover it up a little bit better. That's just like slavery. We're embonded in slavery, not with chains, but with invisible chains, to the point that the slave masters, they dangle the carrot in front of the bunny rabbit. Come and get it, bunny rabbit. Come and get it, come and get it, come and get it. And the next thing you know, a young couple will go out here and they'll buy an automobile a brand new one, car salesman will sell them that automobile knowing darn good and well that they shouldn't be buying that automobile because they're trying to live above their means. But they'll go ahead and sell them that automobile. They don't care if they have to declare bankruptcy, and they don't care if it's going to bring pressure onto their marriage to the point that it winds up causing a catastrophe in that marriage. They wave that temptation in front of them. Oh, come on, we can work this out. Let's just move it up a little bit. Instead of paying it off in 36 months, pay it off in 72 months. Well, if you can't pay it off in 72 months, let's pay it off in 83 months. Well, before it's over with, the people that's actually buying the car, let's say the car was $30,000. I don't even know that you can buy a $30,000 car anymore. But let's say the car is $30,000 on the sticker price. By the time you get through making all them payments, you could have went out here and bought 2 cars.
Mm-hmm.
So, by me saying that, is the slave masters still enslaving the slaves? You're darn right they are. They're just not doing it with whips and chains no more. They're doing it with invisible chains. They're doing it with pen and paper. And who was it that said that the pen is more mightier than the sword? Have you ever heard that before?
Mm-hmm.
The pen is more mightier than the sword. See, they've turned that pen into their sword. And we are those that are foolish enough to go for the bait, the bunny rabbit that goes for that carrot. They wind up enslaving themselves, is what they do. It's actually the slave masters that's doing it, the bankers, the conglomerates. They're the ones that presents this in front of these families. And you wonder how come all our family institutions are breaking up and our families are, what is it now? The statistics, 7 out of 10 that get married winds up in divorce in less than 2 to 3 years.
Yeah, well, there's some of it. It's coming down where people don't get married anymore. They just shack up.
Well, that's been that way now for years.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you about the statistics of people that do want to do right by getting married, and within a matter of 2 to 3 years they're divorced. And the percentage is way up there, like 7 out of 10 winds up in a divorce. Well, why is that? Because you got pressures. Well, honey, we got to make that car payment. Well, no, I got to go do my nails. I got to pay for my cell bill. I got to go do my hair for my $25 haircut. You telling me that you're going to sacrifice my haircut for a car payment? Well, that's what we agreed upon. You signed the paperwork just like I did. So, are young couples being enslaved by the slave masters? Every day. Every day. You know why? Because people in America want to live above their means. It ain't good enough to have a $10,000 car or a $15,000 car. They got to live like the Joneses and buy a brand new $30,000, $40,000 car. And now this is all catching up with us. You cannot borrow your way out of debt. And I don't know what politician that's tried to figure out this scheme towards making more money and generating more money and more money and more money. I mean, you can make up all the graffiti. You know what graffiti money is? Have you ever played Monopoly, where they have them little bitty, the little play money?
Mm-hmm.
That's basically what our dollar bill is turned into.
Mm-hmm.
It's turned into Monopoly money. It's almost like fake money. And we've been running off of this now for quite some time.
Me and you, we're not going to solve the problem. But you know what? We can talk about it, but we ain't going to solve it.
No, but it's one thing to put your finger on where exactly the problem is.
Let's listen to see what the weather's going to do. You want to? Then we talk about the weather.
Well, we can't control that neither, can we?
Well, we might. We talk about it. We're talking about this. We're changing talk about the weather. Let's see what's going on for tomorrow.
Has the police been listening to us the whole time?
Yeah.
The whole time I've been here, the police has been listening?
Yeah.
When did you get all this security stuff at, Uncle Bill?
What?
Turn that thing off. I don't want them to be listening to our conversations. So they know I'm in here, don't they?
Well, I have this on all the time.
Henry County Police Department knows I'm here.
Yeah.
All these cameras. all this high-tech stuff that you got in here?
Yeah.
Don't you think they're watching you?
Well, I got cameras all over the lot out here. And they're taking pictures of everybody comes in and goes out.
So you got high traffic,
Yeah.
heavy traffic.
No, this ain't no police radio. This is the radio that Jason had on the fire department in Dyer. This is weather here.
At 71. Dyersburg, clear at 70. Union City, clear at 68.
Now, is this supposed to be 78 degrees right here in November?
Lexington, partly cloudy at 68. The report from Paris was not available. Here is a weather synopsis for the Mid-South region. Warm temperatures will continue through Wednesday. A cold front will bring widespread rain showers along with isolated thunderstorms back to the Mid-South late Wednesday, continuing through midday Thursday. Strong south winds will be gusty through Thursday ahead of the cold front. Cooler and dry weather will return Thursday and Friday. Here is the forecast for the Vail Weather Radio listening area. Tonight, partly cloudy in the evening, then clearing. Lows in the mid-50s. South winds 10 to 15 miles an hour. Wednesday, partly sunny through early afternoon, then a 20% chance of showers late in the afternoon. Highs in the lower 70s. South winds 10 to 15 miles an hour with higher gusts.
Turn that down for a second.
Wednesday night, cooler.
You know, I can remember when we first moved from Chicago down here in March. It was colder than a witch's, you know what. Ever since then, it's gotten milder and milder and milder. But the point that I'm trying to make is that usually somewhere around Halloween, which is October the 31st, it went to raining, it got cold, and it stayed cold. And whenever old man winter hit, the ground stayed frozen until about March or April. Today, it's liable to be 80 degrees in December. It's liable to be 75 or 80 degrees at the first of the year.
Well, it's like the whole world has changed.
The temperature's going up and down. I mean, and you're wondering how come people are sick. That's what's making people sick, because they cannot become adjusted. Once you become adjusted to one thing, then you got to get readjusted to something else.
Yeah, that's right. But see, we got air conditions.
That's okay if you're not working and you can sit inside the house 24/7. That's fine. But if you got to get out here and work in those conditions, and one day you're wearing a coat, next day you're wearing short sleeves, the next day you're wearing coveralls, the next day you're wearing short sleeves, that's wearing on the body. It's wearing on the mind. It's wearing on every part of the aspect of your existence.
You know, Ripley, long time ago, had a thing out.
Ripley, believe it or not.
Ripley, believe it or not, it said if everybody was still living, never had died, they would be stacked 3 high and couldn't move.
That's probably true.
And it said the earth was going to get hotter.
Well, they just made some sort of an international agreement over in some country that they're now acknowledging that this climate crisis that everybody talked about, we're now in. Well, didn't they discuss, if I'm not mistaken, didn't they discuss this stuff about making electrical cars way before Al Gore 20 years ago, whenever he ran against Bush? Wasn't there talk about going to create these electric cars and everything was going to transfer over and all this? What happened to that ideal?
Mm-hmm.
Somebody knocked that in the head, didn't they?
Yeah.
Well, now, instead of them knocking the ideal in the head, now the consequences are knocking us in the head. Just like that flooding that just got through happening up there in Washington State yesterday. They said it's the most rain that they've ever seen. They said the winds was coming out of the 110 mile an hour winds.
Well, it'll be floods and earthquakes in the last days, and that's what's happening.
It's getting worse, ain't it?
Worse. It's all coming true. And it said in the last days the deserts will bloom. Well, they're raising cotton out there in them deserts now, out there in the west. was doing it when I was up there. Had the cotton irrigating it. So the deserts were blooming. I never did understand what they meant, but the deserts were blooming, and I realized that's what it was. They're raising cotton in them deserts.
Well, the places that used to be plentiful towards rain, you got places in India and Africa and places like that that's just dried up. Africa right now, the Horn of Africa is going through one of the worst droughts that they've ever seen. Absolutely nothing is growing. Cows can't even live. Animals can't even live. It's unsustainable. You got places that used to have stuff that now don't, and now places are either getting flooded or burnt or something, just like that guy I was talking to yesterday. He said, man, it's almost unfit to live in Oregon anymore. He got to rattling off this and rattling off that. And I said, Jesus, that's really changed. He said,
Well,
yeah.
The land, according to the Bible, the land, you're supposed to let it rest after so many years.
Exactly. Every
7 years, ain't
no, it's ever,
it? Third year?
no, it's every Jubilee, which would be every 49 years. You're supposed to let it rest. And
Okay,
also every 49 years, you're supposed to mark everything paid and start all over again. And we're not doing that. We're not letting our ground rest. We're not letting our bodies rest. They only started shutting down Walmart whenever the COVID hit about 18 months ago. Up until then, Walmart stayed open 24/7. Right? 24/7.
Well, up here in town, they're still open, ain't they? At night.
No, they shut down at 11 o'clock.
All the Walmarts are shutting down now at 11 o'clock?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
yeah.
I thought that this one up here in town was staying open.
No. Not that I'm aware of. Because they're corporate. Whatever one does, they all have to.
But I ain't been in Walmart to mount anything pretty close to a year now.
Where do you get all your toilet paper and everything? Go down there at Fred's or Dollar Store and get all that stuff?
Them kids, they bring all my groceries to me. I'm not driving much now.
Oh, really?
My eyes, when I look to the left and right, I see two things, a double, and
So you see two of me as
Well-
big as I am? You see two of me?
Yeah, I can clear the whole wall over there.
No way.
I can look, sometimes look at that doorknob when there's two of them, but it's getting better. This muscle in this eye's not working. I look to the left and look. It was when I looked at that clock right there, and I closed this eye and closed this eye, and that clock would be up yonder a foot higher.
I understand. In other words, you're starting to see double vision.
Yeah, because the muscle in this eye is not working with this.
Well, didn't
eye.
you have cataracts in that eye? Didn't you have cataracts removed out of that eye or something not too long ago?
I had a tumor in the back of this eye.
Yeah, didn't you have an operation not too long ago, about a year or so ago?
Yeah, last year in December.
Did that help it any?
No, that was a tumor I had took out.
But did it help?
No,
Did the
no.
operation help as far as your vision?
No, it hurt my vision.
Oh, it did.
Yeah. See, they sewed radiation in the back of my eyeball. Took it out and sewed it and put it back in. And I had to go back and they had to cut the stitches out and take it out. I had to sit down in Memphis 7 days.
I think the medical industry
I
is,
think they took my eyeball out and threw it around in the room.
well, they may play marbles with it or something.
I must have done something. Mine stepped on it. But they put me all the way under when they went in there and put the radiation in. And I went back in, they didn't do that. And I can feel when he was cutting them stitches out of my eye.
Really? As close as you are to the lake, I think I'd be tempted to have me a pattern.
Who?
A pattern?
A pattern of what?
A pattern of exercise towards walking down here to the water and just looking around. Don't you think the water's pretty anymore?
No, I don't do no walking. I do all my walking here in the house and in that building down there. I walk in that building a lot. I walk in this house a lot.
What are you walking the building for?
Doing around in there.
In the shop?
Yeah, I'm down there today piddling around, walking around in. When it gets real cold, of course I can't stay down there.
Right.
I got a wood stove down there. I'll build me a fire sometimes.
Do you?
I got gas heat down there in it too.
I didn't know that. They claim it gas and everything else is going up. You know, gasoline right now is over $3 a gallon in most places for the cheap stuff. And that's here in Tennessee.
They said there in California, someplace in California, a gallon of gas was $7.59 a gallon.
Yes, sir.
How can anybody afford to buy it?
It's gotten crazy, Uncle Bill, I'm telling you. And just like what we're looking at right there, where's that at? Where's WI at? Wisconsin? All the rioting and stuff going on? Or maybe that was old footage. Maybe that was old footage. I think that's
that's a trial thing here.
yeah. But anyways, it's gotten crazy all over the country. Just like I was telling you all ago, the country of the kangaroos, the outback, Australia,
Mm-hmm.
their officials is coming down on them to the point that it's almost broke out civil war in that country
Yeah, I know it.
because of COVID. And it's not just happening it's not just happening there. It's happening in other parts of the country too, real bad.
Australia, they was locking people up in places that didn't take the shot.
Yes, sir. Taking their homes from them.
Yeah. They've gone crazy about it.
Yep, they have.
It's all out of portion.
It is. But like you said a while ago, ain't doesn't mean you can do about it. So thank God that we're in America, and thank God that it hadn't turned that bad here yet.
We've been lucky here in this part of the country about things like
About stuff like that.
Yeah, been lucky.
But it doesn't mean that they couldn't evolve to it.
Well, our governor, for one thing, is keeping us out of the state of Tennessee right now.
Yes,
He's not putting no mandate on us.
that's right. That's right. And as long as there ain't a severe outbreak, I'm pretty sure they'll probably keep it just like it is.
Yeah.
But now, if there's a severe outbreak to the point that they're losing a lot of their citizens, they'll put the mandates out.
I think that's what they want as citizens. I think they want to thin out the population.
I don't know if it's that or maybe their intentions are good intentions
This
and they don't know how to
virus,
control
it's a
it.
man-made virus.
Well, it probably is. I ain't gonna sit there and deny that. But whenever you caught in between a hard place and a rock, damned if you do and damned if you don't, what do you do? Because anything you do at this point in time, you're gonna be ridiculed. You're gonna be criticized. They're gonna scrutinize everything that you do at this point in time, regardless whether you put the mandates in or you take the mandates out. You got a certain amount of people that part of the people you just can't please at all. They're unpleasable.
Oh, that old colonel, whatever it was, colored man was under Bush.
Yeah.
He had COVID. He had fully vaccinated and died with COVID.
That's the reason why I say, Uncle Bill, it's not just biological, pertaining to a microscopic germ that you can't see with the human eye. I put as much emphasis on the spirit world as I do the COVID world, because the Bible says that in the last days, and these are in the words of Red, it ain't the words of John the Baptist or John, Paul or some of them other people in the Bible. This is the words of Christ. He said in the last days, he would sever the wicked from among the just. And I truly believe that God has lifted his protected hand off of society, and he's allowing for the devil to play havoc up onto the Homo sapiens up onto this planet. In other words, that shield of protection that God had on us, he's released that. He's taken that off. And now it's either sink or swim, sink or swim, sink or swim. And if you ain't got the Lord in your life protecting you, that means whenever the old bad man comes around pertaining to the spiritual Satan, if he decides that you're a threat to him and he decides that he's going to bring you down by taking you out of this world, he'll throw that disease on you to the point that it will take you out. But now if God ain't going to allow for him to do that because God's protecting you, then you ain't got nothing to worry about until God gets ready to call you home. Then whenever God calls you home, God may actually look at Lucifer, the devil, and say, okay, he's ready now. Go ahead and take him out. I'm ready for him. He's lived out his life. He's done what he was supposed to do. He's lived out his purpose. Because I don't believe in coincidence. I believe everything has a purpose. I don't care if it's a bug. Everything has a purpose. It's a purpose for me coming here tonight and sitting here talking to you.
How come it's a purpose?
It's a purpose.
How come?
Because everything has a reason in behind it. Rhyme and reason.
You think so? You don't think you have anything to do with it?
It's a rhyme or reason. It's purpose.
You got a purpose.
You know who used to live by that golden rule?
Who?
The Hard-Shell Baptist.
The Hard-Shell Baptist.
The
Who is a Hard-Shell Baptist?
The Hard-Shell Baptist.
They had a hard shell on them?
The Primitive Baptist. They're called the Primitive Baptist or the Hard-Shell Baptist. They had a theory, and their theory was that what is to be will be, and if it wasn't meant to be, it won't be. Now you may be asking, well, Dennis, what are you saying? I'm saying this. If it's meant for you to fulfill a certain purpose in life, and God has anointed you to fulfill that purpose, I don't care if you jump out of an airplane without a parachute on. It may break you up. You may wish that you had died, but you're going to fulfill that purpose until you do. You're still going to be left here hanging. And I've said that to you before, and it didn't make no sense to you, that Uncle Bill, you still have something lacking that you haven't done, is the reason why God hadn't already done called you home.
You think so? Well, it says that
You haven't fulfilled your purpose.
It says your days are numbered like the hair in your head.
That's right. And why is the days numbered like
I
that?
ain't got no hair.
But why is the days numbered like that? They're numbered like that because God has validated a purpose in your life.
Yeah, I know he's got a purpose. I don't really know what it is yet, but I know it's
Well, it may be the fact of you sitting here talking to me tonight. Have you ever thought about that? Maybe my purpose is to help my mentor, Dennis.
Mm-hmm.
My nephew, Dennis, that was a son of my sister.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's my purpose, is for me to help my mentor him and build him up and hold him up. Then again, you may be thinking, well, maybe my purpose is to torment him and make his life just as miserable as I think he's made mine.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm kidding, right?
Yeah. Well,
I know you get lonely sitting here day after day after day. I realize you got the...
It don't bother me being by myself.
Does it not?
Uh-uh.
Because of the TV and everything, radio, and you got all these
I
other
don't know.
gizmos and gadgets to listen to and
I
stuff?
work by myself a lot, you know.
Yeah, I know that.
And it just don't bother me being by myself.
So you're not independent. I mean, you are independent whenever it comes to that.
Yeah. It just don't bother me.
And you've been independent all your life towards dressing yourself, taking your own baths, and driving a vehicle up until just recently, hadn't you?
Yeah.
Very independent.
Well, I can still drive, but I just don't trust my sin.
I understand.
As long as I can look straight down the road, I'm fine.
Well, do you still got your driver's license and your
Oh, yeah.
insurance in case you do?
Yeah.
It's in case you hurt yourself, injure
Yeah.
yourself, and you got to get out there and take yourself to the hospital real quick.
Yeah.
Can you still do that?
Yeah. I I can drive to town. I can drive on that road out there.
And you're probably better off driving during the daytime than you are at night, because at
I can
nighttime,
see
those
it,
lights,
so.
now, the lights that they put on these automobiles at night, they'll blind you.
They don't
They're those
blind
halogen lights.
It don't bother me. Since I had that cataract surgery, it did before I had the cataract surgery. But since I had the cataract surgery, it don't bother me.
Really? It does me.
Have you had the eyes checked for cataracts?
Yeah, I just had them checked about 2 weeks
Are
ago.
they okay?
Yeah.
You don't have cataracts?
No,
It
pressure.
ain't Cadillacs now, it's cataracts.
Cadillac. Who named the Cadillac anyway? Huh?
I don't know how it got that name.
Did you believe Elvis had a pink Cadillac?
Yeah.
Wasn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
A pink Cadillac.
But
You know, Have you ever thought this? Go ahead. Go ahead with your frame of thought. Go ahead.
So what now?
Go ahead with your frame of thought.
I can see on that television real good. I can see that real fine writing on the bottom there.
Can you?
Yeah. My problem is when I look to the left and look to the right. And if I'm looking right straight up. I see double looking right straight up.
They got a name for all that stuff you're talking about. I don't know what they're talking
My down
about.
seeing is good.
But at night, whenever I'm driving, I can't drive with these glasses on. I got to take the glasses off because my far side is good. I can see way out there good.
My far sight's always been good. I just can't see up close now.
Well, I can't drive with those glasses on because those glasses intensifies, and whenever that light hits those glasses, it's like bam.
Yeah.
You know, as long as I can drive without the glasses on, I'm okay. And I'm getting to where now at my age, I'm like you. I pick and choose the days and the nights that I want to drive. In other words, if it's coming a rainstorm out there, or if I think that the weather's calling for snow and ice, I'm going to keep my butt in the house.
How old are you now?
60.
60?
I'm getting old.
You sure are. Goodness, you 60 year old.
Compared to 88, I'm 60.
Well, you're 60 year old. Shoot, I was going good at 60 year old. I done real good till I reached 80. When I got 80 and when I started going 81, 82, it started making a difference on me. It's like night and day.
Yeah.
Happened real fast. I get tired easy. I cleaned the whole front yard yesterday. Cleaned it, I started on it at 12 and I got through at 5 o'clock. Burned it. I was so tired I couldn't hardly get in the house.
Huh.
I was so tired I couldn't eat. I didn't eat up till 7 o'clock. I didn't even want to take a shower.
I understand.
I this chair, went to sleep.
I understand.
Got up, took a shower.
I understand.
Eat, fell back in this chair and went to sleep again.
I understand. Hey, listen, getting back to that pink Cadillac. I'm going to go somewhere with you on this, okay? Pertaining to the pink Cadillac. Elvis come onto the scene just about the same time that the Beatles from England come over here to America.
Mm-hmm.
Can you not see where that's where America started compromising on its morals? Was basically in the mid to late 50s into the 60s. And of course that led into Woodstock, and it led into all this rock and roll music and hard rock and acid rock. And now they've got, what is it called? Rap. They got rap music.
Yeah.
And they got head banging music. They got all this other stuff. And of course, they done all this under the pretense of free speech. You know, if we can talk about it, we ought to be able to sing about it. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
The thing about it is, now listen to my theory here for a second. Lucifer in heaven used to stand beside Michael, according to the Bible, and played a harp, and was considered at one time as being one of the prettiest angels in heaven. So, if Lucifer was playing a harp and he was that good in music, he had mastered music before he got kicked out of heaven. Don't you think that that's a tool that he's using today to infiltrate minds and to brainwash people with all this freaking music? And if you add that with drugs and alcohol and all the other stuff, no wonder the suicide rate's high. No wonder people are having drug overdoses. No wonder people are dying like flies dying now.
Yeah,
We let the devil in, didn't we?
yeah,
Let the old devil in back in the 50s and the 60s, and now we're paying for it, ain't we?
yeah, yeah.
Because back in the 50s and 60s, if you done something wrong, you was held accountable for your wrong. And if they couldn't get you to straighten out any other way, they'd whip it into you. Well, nowadays you can't even talk to them. If you talk down to them and you upset little Johnny emotionally, well, that's cruel and insensitive, and you're a mean person if you do that. Could you only imagine if they went back to the standards, Uncle Bill, that me and you was raised under? These kids would commit suicide if they had to go back to the hard times like me and you was familiar with. Of course, I don't think you got that many whippings, did you?
Who, me?
Yeah, you told me you didn't get but one.
Did whippings? Yeah, I got whippings.
You only got one whipping.
I got more than that. The last one I got was 11 years old. I won't never forget that one. My daddy walked, well, we lived in a house that had a well. It's all screened in, had a well on this big back porch here. My daddy walked in that door, screen door, could come in. He said, Bill, draw a bucket of water. I said, I ain't gonna do it. I don't know what made me say that. I couldn't take it back. I done said it. I got whipped. That's the last whipping I ever got. I don't know what in the world made me say I ain't gonna do it. It just come out of my mouth.
You just being rebellious.
Yep, he walked in that door and said, Bill, draw a bucket of water. I said, I ain't gonna do it.
And that's what the movement was. The free love movement, the sex movement, the get high movement, the rock and roll movement, the hippie movement. The hippie movement. You know what hippies are?
Yeah.
Between all those movements and not being able to spank little Johnny, and if little Johnny decides that he wants to take the American flag and burn it in front of your house, you're not supposed to be able to do nothing about it. Kind of like that crook that you was telling me about. If that robber decides to come in your house and you wind up trying to stop him or her, and you commit some sort of act of violence in doing so, you're the one that's liable to wind up going to jail. So
I'm gonna blow a hole in him when he breaks in that door right there. That Robert. When he come, he's tearing my door down. He's gonna do something when he gets in here, and I'm gonna put a hole in him. I got a shotgun in there. It's about that long. It's a riot gun, and it's loaded with some big slugs in it, and it's a pump. And I've got 6 of them in the chamber. I go 6, boom, 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 boom.
could you live with it the day after?
Well,
Whenever you cleaned up all the blood stains.
I wouldn't want to shoot nobody.
When you cleaned up all the blood stains and you replaced the carpet and you got things back to normal, you keep in mind 6 months to a year after that occurred, you're going to have to sit in that same chair and you're going to have to live with that you killed another human being.
I wouldn't want to kill nobody. But I would if somebody's breaking my door down.
To
he's
keep
gonna
them
do
being
damage
killed.
When he comes in the
To
house.
keep from being killed, you would
I would
defend
do it.
yourself. And I don't think nobody could or would blame you for that, because under the castle law, you do know that there's a castle law
Yeah.
that you have a right to protect you in your castle. So all this other stuff that you're telling me about is a bunch of hokey pokey stuff as far as shooting somebody and them running down the road and then turn around and suing you for it. Are you going to jail because you was trying to defend yourself
Yeah.
because somebody broke into your house? Now, if you shoot somebody out in your yard that's stealing your tires off your car, then you're going to go to jail. Because what you should have done, according to the law, you should have called the law and let the law take care of it.
And the law, time it when it gets here, guy done got my tires and gone.
Yeah.
It took him 30 minutes for the law to get him.
Well, but we're gonna keep on. We ain't gonna have no law,
Yeah,
right?
right,
They're gonna run the law off.
right.
So then it's sure not gonna be a
Right.
wild, wild west show then,
Yep.
ain't it?
Yep.
Huh?
Yep.
The fastest draw, the man left standing will be the man that'll be the hero.
Yep. Yep. The robbers and the thieves is gonna take over.
What can we do about it, Uncle Bill? Can we start a movement? Can we start a movement? Is it too late to save America? Is it too late to save
It's
America?
never too late to do anything. If you got your mind made up to do it.
Who's them people down there in that little picture right down there on the
I don't
bottom?
know who that is.
Well, why
Betty? It's some of Betty's people.
do you got them stuck down there in a little bitty
Well,
hole
they was
like
over
that for?
here, and I didn't like them there, and I stuck them over there. I stuck them up there in front of the TV, and I didn't like them there, and I stuck them down there. And I don't know who they are. There's something to do.
Seems like every time I come in here, you got more pictures. Are
No,
them
these pictures always been.
are them girls bringing in pictures every time they walk in here?
The Betty put all these pictures in when we bought this.
Just like that big bass right there. Did you have that in there last time I was
Yeah,
here?
Chris made that bass.
Chris.
Chris, they got a laser that cuts out the ductwork, and that ductwork, he put that bass in that thing, and that thing cut that out.
Does he got a business somewhere?
They got a business, and he and cool in Trenton, and they got this machine that cuts the ductwork out, and it's a laser.
Right.
It cuts that, and he pulled that picture up on that computer and on that thing, and pushed that button, and he started cutting that fish out.
Wow.
And he
If
cut
it-
that little thing out right there, above, over there, flower looking thing there, he cut
Uh-huh.
that out.
Well, if he's got the machine, and if you got the right kind of metal like copper, copper, you can get copper in a roll, real thin, but it's kind of like metal. Have him cut you out a cross, and maybe a soldier leaning down and praying to God in front of the cross. I'm talking about something, fairly big.
I got a cross cut on something here, and you look at it and tell me what you think it is. Look at that and tell me what you think that was made out of.
It's got some writings on it.
Huh?
It's got some writings on it.
Yeah.
Looks like it was made in Canada. I'd have to have a magnifying glass to read over. It says something Tennessee on it. I'd say that right there is probably pure silver, because silver will tarnish. I'm going to say that material that was
What do you
made out
think it
of.
was then?
I think it was silver. You talking about the material that it was made out of?
Uh-huh.
Silver. How close am I to being right?
That
Is it-
is a nickel. That was made out of a nickel. A man made that out of a nickel.
Really?
Uh,
And put all that lettering and stuff on there too?
well, the lettering was already on the nickel.
Oh, that's what I'm looking at.
Yeah, it's a nickel.
So you bought this somewhere then, didn't you?
No, man gave that to me.
It looks like a cross.
It is. It's a cross. He gives Jason one and Betty one and me one.
I'll be darned. You ain't got a magnifying glass around here close?
Yeah.
It's too dark in here. I can't make it out.
I've been tearing that thing for 30 years, I bet.
Think it's kind of like a rabbit's foot? Think it's brought you good luck?
No, it's a cross, and I just put it on my keychain, and that's where it's staying.
Ain't nothing wrong with that. There ain't nothing wrong with that, Uncle Bill. I mean, you don't worship it, do you?
Huh?
You don't worship it, do
Well,
you?
no, I don't worship it.
But it gives you, it's a symbolical statement of your worship pertaining to the
Right,
cross.
that's a thing of my profession, the cross. Jesus died on the cross for my sins.
That's right. He died for all our sins, providing that you've accepted him into your life.
He said he died once and for all.
That's right. So you've had,
He's not going to come back and do it again. He said he died for once and for all.
so have you actually had a conversion experience?
Say what?
Have you had a conversion experience?
What do you mean a conversion of faith? When I was saved, I had a conversion of wanting to be saved. And I can remember when I was saved and where I was at.
Most people can. I can too. I can too. Well, it's 6:30. I've been here with you now an hour. I got here right around 5:30.
Whole hour.
Yep. I find it to be comforting
Mhm.
in coming here and being around you, because you are part of my mother pertaining to you having their same DNA. You know what I'm saying? So I find it to be comforting to come here and to
You know what that's made out of?
walnut.
No,
It's a walnut.
no,
Some sort of a nut.
peach seed.
Peach seed.
Peach.
Okay.
Man carved them out of and that right there.
That took some time right
he
there.
carved
Didn't
that right there out of
it?
it.
That took some time to do all
Yeah.
that, didn't it?
Yeah.
Somebody had more time than they had money, didn't it?
Yeah, I don't know. That's real fine carving, you know.
Uh-huh. Yeah, somebody was talented to be able to do all that.
Yeah. Sure was.
Well, you want to go home with me?
No, I'm gonna stay here.
All right.
The place